Funny story, I was here on a football recruitment trip well before I decided to join as a Bulldog, and I was driving past the aquatic center with my parents in the car, and I was watching people jump off the high dive in the summer, and at that moment I decided I want to come to the University of Redlands.
I think my favorite memory of Fritz was actually how we came to find him and get him out for track in the first place. I was hanging out outside of the weight room one day, and we found a guy that was pretty tall and pretty athletic looking, trying to see if he could jump high enough to put his head through the drop ceiling of the hallway. And just with that athleticism, and I remember that day specifically and thinking this might be a guy that could help us out, and it turned out we were right, and it ended up being a very, very successful career in lots of events. The decathlon certainly was one of them. Being Fritz's coach was really an amazing experience for me. I was a pretty new coach. I'd only been doing it a couple of years, and so the journey that we took together as a coach and an athlete was really, truly together.
It was great to coach Fritz. Fritz was probably the most knowledgeable athlete that I've ever had. He was knowledgeable about his body, how his body was responding to training, when to push, when to back off. He was also extremely knowledgeable about all the track and field events. Made it a very collaborative process to work with him. I really enjoyed that.
I think the greatest contribution that Fritz had to Bulldog sport was to bring some recognition to the program. When I had first arrived at Redlands, there really wasn't a track and field program to speak of at all, and Fritz was one of the first athletes to, number one, buy in, and number two, have significant success at the national and conference level. And just that name recognition and credibility that he brought to the program was certainly a huge asset, and has paid many, many dividends for the years to come, and all of the successes that have happened since he was there.
I believe Fritz's greatest accomplishment was winning the 2007 national championship in decathlon. He had been the runner-up the year before, and he came back to win the national championship in perhaps the most challenging and difficult track and field event that there is. He also came back and won the 2008 national championship in the long jump after getting hurt, wouldn't allow him to compete in the decathlon. He made some sacrifices and still had the drive to compete, and was able to come back and win another national championship in just a single event, the long jump.
Some of my fondest memories here at the U of R, sprinting up the Alumni Hill, getting ready for track season, working late into the night at Pepper's Art Studio, making pots, and then coming back early in the morning before the sun came up to open up the kiln to check and see how they turned out. I remember the smell of the orange groves at night. So whenever I smell that now, because I'm still local, so when I drive around, have my windows down, especially in the fall, and I smell the orange groves, it reminds me of all of the emotions tied up with training and coaches and friends and athletes and traveling to all the different places that we travel to, and the potential to beat Claremont in the conference track and field meet.
I have two favorite memories of Fritz Nugent. The first was competing at the 2008 SCIAC Championships. Fritz had just come off of competing in the high jump, and our leadoff leg in the 4x100 meter relay had injured himself while warming up. And I went up to where our team encampment was, and I asked our alternate, "Are you ready to go?" And that alternate had left his uniform back in Redlands, and we were kind of stuck. And I said, can anybody run the 4x1? And Fritz was there, just finished the high jumping, said, "I can do it. What do I have to do?" And he ran the first leg of the relay and handed off to the second leg without an incident, and we were able to, I believe we finished second that year in the 4x100 relays. He, consummate team player, he stepped up and competed there. My second favorite memory of Fritz was winning the 2008 national championship in the long jump. Fritz was certainly not ranked near the top. As a matter of fact, he was ranked outside the top 10. And for him to show up that day and win the national championship by 2 centimeters over the athlete that won the athlete of the meet that year was an amazing accomplishment. It was something I'll always remember.
He was a hard worker, and he was determined to do his best every time he went out to perform. So whether it was on the track, on the field, doing whatever he needed to do, and even in the weight room, he always made sure to put a full 100% effort in what he was doing. Being at nationals, it was fun just to kind of see Fritz kind of let his guard down and relax a little bit more. So one of our favorite memories is Coach Schmidt found some random dinosaurs off of the freeway, so he went and checked it out and gathered us all up, and we all took pictures with the dinosaurs. And across the freeway there was a random, I think, a cow and a buffalo. So we all just kind of piled into the car, went and took some pictures and had a good time next to that, and headed back to the hotel and hang out and just kind of chit chat and catch up with everybody.
I believe Fritz is deserving of being in the Hall of Fame because of the breadth and depth of his accomplishments. He was a multiple time all-sky performer in track and field in many different events. Everything from the pole vault and the high jump, the 400 hurdles, javelin, many other events, to being a two-time national champion in the decathlon and in the long jump.
And Fritz is a hard worker and really dedicated to the sport that he loves so much. So seeing what he did in terms of national championships and competing at the national level year after year, and even his final year, he got injured, still pushed through it, and won a national championship that he wasn't necessarily expecting. So he did a great job, and I know he is a stellar student as well. So all of that put together, I think he's very deserving of the award.
Certainly his athletic accomplishments speak for themselves. He's a couple-time All-American. I can't even count the amount of times he was an all-SKYAC performer in such a wide range of events, from the long jump to the javelin to the hurdles to the pole vault. And the fact that he had so much success and contributed so greatly to the program at Redlands makes him a no-brainer for induction into the Hall of Fame.
Congrats, Fritz. It was well deserved, and I know you're proud and your family's proud. Enjoy.
Congratulations, Fritz, on becoming a member of the Bulldog Hall of Fame.
And lastly, just a huge congratulations, Fritz. You were a fantastic athlete, an amazing competitor, and as it turned out, in the years to come, even a better friend. I couldn't be more proud of somebody's accomplishments and more proud of somebody for being inducted into the University of Redlands Hall of Fame. So congratulations, Fritz.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hall of Fame inductee Fritz Nugent. Presenting Fritz's award is Mike Herb, head track and field coach during the early part of Fritz's career.